Hey everybody, this is Roy Bhandari, and today we are fortunate to be in the amazing sales office for Queen Central, and we're joined by Shab, the principal of Cornerstone, and today we're really excited to talk about this amazing project. So Shab, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, excited to be on this project.
Yeah, so I think the first thing that comes to mind with this project is the location. I think the location speaks for itself. 2 years ago, we invested in a project in this location, just around the corner from here. And I'll tell you the reasons that I thought were really excited for us, and I think it blends into this. I think the number one thing we're obviously excited about is the transit, and I think there's a great transit story here that just gets better and better. We'll touch on that. I think the tech boom is amazing, and the amount of tech talent that continues to come into Toronto is amazing. And then obviously just proximity to Financial District, Eaton Centre, the Air Canada Centre, everything that makes downtown Toronto great. So the number one thing I want to talk about is the location. So give us a brief overview about the location. Where are we? And then we'll dive into some of those specifics.
Yeah, location is absolutely the most critical item for this project that makes it stand apart from anything in the GTA today. Or anything that's coming in the next few weeks. Being steps to Yonge and Queen has its strengths. Being access having to Line 1, of course, is really critical.
So Yonge and Queen, you are center, right, so downtown.
Yeah, I mean, we're about a block and a half, 2 blocks of walking to it. And I prefer that sometimes, to have that sort of gap, that distance that, locals enjoy, that little bit of a walk. And also not be in the middle of noise on Yonge Street sometimes. So there is critical benefits to that. Line 1 is a big talking point for us, of course. But Queen Street, Her Majesty the Queen, the Queen Street does have a long-term history of this beautiful streetscape design, infrastructure which we can talk about, a lot of heritage piece to it. And it's really one of the well-known intersections in downtown Toronto, central downtown Toronto, and it's also within the borders of the financial district. So anything beyond really Queen Street, it starts to kind of die down, and the density starts to drop a bit in terms of employment overall. So we are really designing and planning this development around the notion of centrality and having access to financial district and the tech boom, as you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk on transit. Line 1, you mentioned the Yonge subway line is our main subway line today. But obviously there's a big expansion of the subway coming. So tell us a bit.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about, to be honest, but sticking on some sort of path when discussing this project, Line 1 is very critical. We know it, everybody understands it. The key player here is the Ontario line that you have had people talk about it, but don't necessarily have access to it or are within reasonable close proximity to. The Ontario line stretches from Exhibition Place and goes through 4 stations on Queen Street, right through the Line 1, Line 2, and Line 5, and it goes right along underground of Queen Street, east, and stretches to East Toronto towards the Science Centre. So it's a very large development. I think there's 15 stations, touches 17 nodes, and is $11 billion in investment. So it has this massive change or transformation, not just in Toronto, but just in Canada. That sort of investment, infrastructure investment, is a big thing to think about. There are projects that have transit-oriented developments across GTA, yes, but very few have what is happening in the center of downtown. It's a relief line. It's bringing people to the core for employment, really. Yeah,
I think when we look at stuff like this, access to the transit is one part of that. But when you've got a brand new subway line, that brings along a ton of additional infrastructure over the years, and that's why I think people don't quite realize the amount of impact that this transit line is going to have here. Downtown Toronto, we only have the one intersection of 2 subway lines right now. It's Yonge and Bloor, and what happens around Yonge and Bloor? Everything.
Right.
So tomorrow, when we've got Yonge and Queen,
right, and I love talking to you guys, and you know that, especially because you're so well versed with it. And being Yonge and Bloor, it's really important because in the 1950s, in fact, they had actually created an underpass for Yonge and Queen. So you actually go to Yonge and Queen, you actually can get access to it to see they actually dug up the area, set up infrastructure for a cross-sectional subway system, and instead they gave it to Yonge and Bloor. Now we're coming back with the expansion, immigration, and inflow of people in Toronto. You're seeing that sort of change coming, saying, hold on a minute. If we're going to do expansion, let's go through the heart of the city. Let's go through Yonge and Queen. Everything's set up, infrastructure set up. It'll be much faster, much smarter.
Yeah, For sure. So let's talk about one more transit line that we didn't even touch on is the 24-hour streetcar,
Yes.
which exists today.
Correct.
You can get across the city, east, west. It's
It's more fast. It's more committed to the downtown, connecting
Yeah.
downtown east and west. And that is 24 hours. And again, it's a stone throw away from the actual building itself, similar to where the future Ontario Line subway station will be, just sitting east of us towards the Moss Park, which is the part of that revitalization happening. So there is just so much money being just dumped into the Ontario Line, Moss Park revitalization, and so forth.
I love it. So transit obviously is a big part of the story here. The next thing that really excited us about this location is the financial district.
Yeah.
It is the economic hub of not just Toronto, not just Ontario, but of Canada. And increasingly it's becoming such an important hub of North America.
Yeah.
So about 10 years ago, we sold a project and you told us the financial district is moving south.
Correct.
And it did.
Correct.
You told us it was going to happen, and eventually you see all these brand new office towers going south.
Absolutely.
Now we're at the sort of point where the financial district is heading east.
Yep.
So not only do we have stone's throw access to the best bank jobs, the best insurance jobs, the best financial market jobs, tech jobs we're going to come onto, but you're in a place now where we are going to start to see that shift east. The first real sort of sign of that is the brand new headquarters that Google will be moving into, which again is a few hundred meters from this site. They are taking the entire building, and I think it's 400,000 square feet of office space that Google will be moving to downtown Toronto.
Yes.
And you're starting to see this shift east as well. So I wanted you to touch on.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've done, and we've been blessed to work with various developers that have such good insight into trends, land acquisition, including ourselves, where we're able to do certain sales marketing or development marketing, and we start to really analyze the trends, what's happening. I know, like you mentioned, you alluded to the South Financial Corridor. There was a growth there happening, and it's still continuing to grow and starting to move waterfront east a bit more. So that momentum is really shifting everything to the east. I mean, I look back 15, 20 years ago to Bay Street, what it meant to say I work on Bay Street. There's scarcity of land there. You're not going to see much density come to that neighborhood. I think there actually maybe just one surface parking lot in that area left, really. Aside from that, you come to Church Street. We were one of the original companies that actually marketed a condominium on Church Street years back. And now you can see this kind of transformation and change where everybody starts to look at sites on Church. And even that's dwindling down. There's scarcity of developments in this area. So what that essentially does is starting to push even commercial brokers, commercial developers, looking areas where there's affordable or even availability of site for them to purchase and develop and work with. So we are seeing that trend, and I think the key indicator for us is not just the expansion of waterfront south and also coming now east of the city, is that big play by Google, like you mentioned. They've got 400,000 square foot of just office space, which is effectively almost double the size of like a 30-plus story building downtown Toronto, which is immense if you think about it. Mm-hmm. And Google really has this influence in the market that once they anchor a neighborhood, they start to cluster with other synergies amongst other companies, services essentially, and they start to really build an ecosystem around themselves, internally within the building and outside in that surrounding area. So we're about 600 meters from Google's head office. So we really want people to understand how important it is where you work, where you live, where you play. And having Google there is a big part of Toronto overall, not just Queens Central. We're very proud of Toronto overall, where we're going. And again, it is the second largest financial market in North America, which, with 3 and some odd million people in the city, we still don't have that many people. We don't have 10 million like New York accounted for, but we still have the strongest financial institutions.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're so close to it, you don't realize exactly what's going on.
Because you live it every day.
Exactly. And we've been banging the door on the tech story for forever. And anybody who's paying attention, investors should be paying attention to this story, because tech companies come in, they pay high salaries, they've got very, very skilled workers, they attract very, very skilled workers. And these are ultimately, and the reason we keep banging on this door is because these are the guys that are going to be your tenants. And these are the guys that are going to be competing for the rental spaces in these core areas.
There's such a large footprint when you get incubators like Google come in, or Amazon or Apple, which all kind of is within the financial district vicinity again, right? Yeah. So you get this incubation strategy coming to this neighborhood where they start putting money into R&D into the universities, whether it's the DMZ for Ryerson or whether it's the Mars building by UFT. They're putting money into our educational system. And if you're putting money into the educational system, there's a repatriation of that money essentially. So you are really getting back a system, like I was talking about, this ecosystem of these companies coming, multinationals, whether they want to do R&D to figure something out, or whether they need the brain drain from UFT or Ryerson or York University, and that's what they do, pull the talent into the building, they do it. If you travel and look at Apple or you look at Google in San Francisco, just look at how much money these guys dump on just social amenities, rooftop gardens, some exclusive restaurants within the building with very well-known chefs to ensure that their employees are well-fed and well looked after. Those principles are forward-thinking principles that Toronto's thinking about and is doing, hence why Google brings their head office at the center of the city close to us. So going it back to Queens Central is really, really critical to understand what are you really getting. To put it simply, a developer can charge you money for close proximity to a subway, must be established, or within reason of time of delivery. They can charge you money on views. They can charge you money on quality of development. They can charge you money on nice floor plan. Those are the 4 real critical items they can charge you on. But they cannot charge you money for feature of something like Ontario Line. Ontario Line is X number of years away. Okay, it's approved, it's funded. Now they're going through the design process. So the buyers that buy into this neighborhood, and there's a lack of availability in this area, and scarcity of sites and opportunities, really brings significant value. I'll tell you something, when we've done projects of this sort of capacity or nature with this sort of how it's surrounded overall, a high percentage of buyers are the real estate agents, not even buyers. I've seen agents not even let their buyers buy, and they take it, say, I want this floor plan with this unit. And we get this gut feel that this is what's happening based on your feedback and other professionals' feedback.
Interesting point. Yeah, really interesting point. And I mentioned this is a neighborhood that we previously invested in as well, and same kind of idea. So, on the location, I think that we already mentioned, transit, financial district, tech boom, and that's all that's here. That's today. And then you look forward and you look at the future infrastructure, and you can really start to see why we're really excited about Queens Central in this location.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit now about the builder, Parallax. Give us a bit of an overview on Parallax and what they bring to the project.
Yeah, I mean, they're fairly well known in the city. They're very much transit-oriented developer. Yeah. They're very much in tune with what's really happening in the business. And we have a personal passion working with them because they listen. They listen, and if you give us feedback on whether it's customer care or is something that needs to be changed, they're open-minded about that, and they reverse engineer that into their building. If you pay attention to the product design, which we've been working on this thing intimately, which for quite some time, and you will pay attention to very nuances of details in the design that many overlook that this development will have, which will bring significant value to the buyers in the future.
And one of the things I always say is, you involved the broker community quite early and say, is this version of the floor plan better or is this version? Like that sort of attention to detail. We see it few and far between. We see it sometimes, but when you see that level of detail, to the square inch almost. Is the closet better here? Does it make a better flow? You start to see those little intricate details that ultimately bring together the project.
So my strategy has always been we do product review and design, which we're heavily involved with our clients. Otherwise, we don't take on projects where developer doesn't see or respect our input on it. And I think that's really important because essentially, we have your ear and you have our ear, and we are able to engineer what clients are looking for. So when it comes to developments of this nature, we put a lot of energy and time into it to ensure that there's fair market absorption for the project. But also I think about what is the future of this building when it comes to renting and when it comes to selling the building, selling the units in the building for yourself or your clients. We want to think about that when a resale agent or you guys come and list the unit on the market, that it presents appropriately and is actually marketable. So we really kind of look ahead 4 years, 5 years, engineer in that sense and pull it back to today's market. And the challenge you guys have to go through is making sure that clients understand why we do things we do.
I want to talk about Queens Central, the building. Give us the sort of bird's eye level, how many floors, how many units, what to expect, and then we can drill down into some of the things that really make it unique. Yeah,
the key critical element for this project is many things, but several that I can identify and touch on is actually the building composition. It is a corner lot
Yeah.
sitting at legally and formally at 90 Queen Street East. We're asking the city for 100 Queen, very nice round number, very easy to remember. It sits at the corner of Mutual and Queen Street. So we're very excited about that. Naturally,
I just want to hit on that because the reason you bring that up is because sometimes you can be in a situation where it's a mid-block building.
Correct.
So what that means is you've got a building here, you've got a building on this side, and you've got a building on this side.
Correct.
This has the benefit of being on the corner, which
Correct.
means that you've got that breathing room on. So
there's two parts to it. There's a view exposure or
Yeah.
view radius, and there is the other element, which is really natural light penetration. So you could still have relative blockage or not clear view or water view, what have you, or city view, but you can still get natural
amount of light
sunlight
that's coming through.
That's extremely critical for just usage, for good feng shui. It's really important for all cultures, for all people, all sorts of people buying into the building. So for us to have a lot like this, it's becoming so rare that when we see sites, when our clients call us, it's so rare to see this sort of opportunity. So we want to take advantage of it in terms of design. We really want to bring in outdoor terrace elements to it.
Yeah.
We want to bring staggering terraces above the building. We really want to showcase this building and make sure that when you're driving to this neighborhood or on the highway, it stands apart from other developments. So the building itself, to answer your question, Roy, the building itself is 34 legal levels, but 38 marketing floors.
Yeah.
Okay. There is about 75% to 80% of this building effectively gives you clear views that you could effectively say it's a clear view, not to say got to get blocked. So we're proud of that. The big element of this building is just beautiful retail component. Along Queen Street, you have this nice energy because across the street we have Carbon Bar and you have the George Brown Culinary Arts. So there is this element of foodie happening in Toronto. I'm sure you follow it. Just restaurants, new restaurants popping up and all high-end related. So Queen Street itself has this nice heritage piece to it, and effectively you can see on the eastern portion of it, this is a Richard Bigley building from the 1800s that they're preserving, but you can see these beautiful bay windows starting from the lobby entry of 100 Queen to the second, to the third, to the fourth, which we call fifth, right?
Yeah.
So you can see that detail there. That's very much part of that, the principles of design of the 1800s. And then on the west side, you have this modern cladding of precast finish, which is almost a juxtaposition of new and old.
Nice. Yeah, you see it in some of the renderings, which we'll overlay as well. You'll see how that brick really plays into a lot of the elements, and it really looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we're proud. I know Parallax, their team has done, they've spent so much time with us. They must love us and hate us at the same time. So because we're so perfectionist about it, they're good about it. In fact, they care enough about their buildings to stand apart. So as you go up in the building, call this a crown development, where you're putting it right above this beautiful base, it does have this natural formation, natural detail that erects vertically, it goes up, and as you go up has this beautiful angle that just slightly shifts, just 10 degrees, 15 degrees shift, and then gives you these beautiful exclusive terraces that will be one of a kind in the city, and forever will people want to get a piece of this building. I know for sure people are going to want a piece of this building.
Love it. So one of the areas we talked about was floor plans. I know you guys have spent a lot of time on the floor plans. We've gone through the floor plans, and just give an idea of what to expect there.
Yeah, with the way how the market moves, we tend to want to create product that's long lasting and that's impactful for you and your buyers on a mid to long term basis. So again, this is not a student rental or micro units and what have you. It's very much a sweet spot in the market where you have good sizing from small to mid-size to larger. We have studios, of course. We want to have some bachelors in this building, strong price points in the 500s, and we really quickly move into the one bedroom and den category, where we introduce one bedroom with one bathroom or one bedroom with two bathrooms.
Very popular.
And two bedrooms. I never do two bedrooms and one bathroom because I don't feel that that's the value add that you need to have.
Sure.
And our two bedrooms tend to take these corner unit exposure, excellent sizing. Aside from sizing, it's really more about how effective and how efficient is the design, and that really dictates to us the marketability of it. And from there we go into a 3-bedroom composition where in most cases in our 3-bedroom designs, which I really, really believe the future of Toronto is those that can afford to buy 2 beds and 3 beds. The 3 beds, in most cases, say 90%, I do double sink en suites, which is very unique and not a lot of people are doing, right? And you don't even see it in Yorkville.
Yeah.
So we're getting it done in this area. Developers been open-minded about it. It's very unique that, for the purchasers that really truly want that gem.
one of the things I noticed again, looking at the renderings and looking through was that there was a high level of fit and finish here. It seems to be very, very intentional. Give us a overview.
Yeah, I think for any developer in the right state of mind, they want a long-lasting brand. They would want to put their best foot forward. They would want to have a product design that kind of stands the test of time in a sense. And I think that's what it is, really using the right consultants that are open-minded to what the future of the city is, where we're going with things. So for that reason, having a lobby that's so breathable, so open, it's really important to us. A bit of a richness, a bit of a class to it, because you are in the middle of the city. You're on Queen Street. Your steps to all these important parts of the city. You're part of the beating heart of Toronto. So we think having good finishes, having very nice, a lot of windows in units, having amenities that are thoughtful, it's really important. Especially bringing outdoor in and indoor out is a big part of condominium living. We want, and I know developer wants, Parallax wants, that people will use this and will always reference this building to be the best project in that neighborhood. That is really their ambition, and rightfully so. That's great. They spend a lot of time on this development.
Amazing. So I'm going to try and wrap up. We talked about the location of Queen Central. It is you mentioned it's in the heartbeat of the city.
Yes.
I love that. Your steps to the young subway line and the existing streetcar, 24-hour streetcar on Queen Street. We are excited that we're going to get the Ontario line, which is now approved and currently in the design phase. That's going to be at your doorstep as well. So 3 really amazing transit lines. We're connected to the financial district. We're connected to Eaton Centre. We're connected to steps to Air Canada Centre.
Path. We never even talk about.
We didn't even talk about Path. Everything that you think that is great about downtown Toronto, you are there. Queen, Young and Queen. We talked about the evolving tech sector and all these amazing companies that are coming into this neighborhood. We talked about Google, but that's just scratching the surface of the amount of tech companies. We got Apple, we got Facebook, we got Microsoft, and then there's so many other tech companies in this area as well. We talked about Parallax, an amazing developer that has a lot of their hands in a lot of buildings downtown.
Correct.
We talked about the building itself with really thoughtful floor plans, amenities, really great designed amenities, and really nice fit and finish, amazing views, a unique corner lot which allows a lot of sunlight. What did I miss? Did I miss anything?
Great memory, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
No, I think we've covered the pertinent details. I can go on and on to talk about this development when you're so intimate with project planning. Again, I always say we're blessed because the developer is so open-minded to get us involved, and there's so much to talk about, and myself and the team are just fall in love with what we do in so many cases, and that's the best way for us to actually market the buildings. So for us, we're different in that sense.
I think there was one thing that I think is important to notice, and one of the things that we're excited, we are in the middle of August right now while we're filming this, and one of the things that we're noticing is a real, the rental market is really booming to life again.
Yes.
It's
a massive rebound.
Huge rebound. We all knew it was going to come. It was a matter of when.
Just sit tight for a few months and you see what happens. That's
exactly.
what we've been saying.
And we're seeing the tightness of that market really, really show again. We're seeing multiple offers all over the place, and again, we're really starting to see that. And I don't know if you have anything to add to.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously monitor that. A lot of the business has been in some form, condominium has become in some form commodity for some buyers and investors who have deep pockets. We are seeing a emerging market where users actually getting back into it and buying up. I mean, we've had several launches downtown just alone this year. So we are very active in the business, not just here, but outside. So we're actually able to look at that data and see how it's affecting the developments and rental rates, things like that. So having developments where so centrally located and have the unique value proposition will get you and the clients that actual value add and that more money, call it. But we are seeing market rebounding. We know our numbers in rental is back to 2018 prior to COVID. So there is, I think, a very short number of inventory sitting on the market, but things are moving fast and up 23% in rent numbers from before. So we're very positive. I mean, our borders are open from US now. The US is coming. Immigration start to flow in. Students are coming in. But again, we're very much, I think, product design and what we've done is targeting young professionals that avoid as much student as possible, which was reasonable to Ryerson, but is not Ryerson, and we leave that to other developers to do student rentals.
Love it. Shab, if our clients were interested in Queen Central, what do they have to do?
Well, that's great. I think that should be your answer. I think you should be contacting professionals like yourself. I've always admired our time to have conversations, share market intelligence. It is a great project. I don't think anybody should miss it if they're in the right state of mind and they're within the right financial situation to be able to purchase. They can't go wrong. There's a couple of developments this year downtown that are very powerful, and I think they're going to bring great value. You are getting anything. There are going to be a lot of developments across GTA, but there'll only be one Queen Central. So I don't think that you're going to miss out if you don't buy in some sectors in the market where there's a vast amount of land. So don't stress out, but something like this will come and go and you won't get access to it again.
Love it. Thank you very much, Shab.
Thank you.
Cheers.